Hey Stefan, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. I'm enjoying the show. I was gonna
Thank you.
begin by saying, I mean, this character that you play is incredibly kind of flawed and at times not particularly likable, but that's almost quite unique, isn't it, for a leading role in a series, who the whole thing sort of revolves around, to be so frustrating at times and self-centered at times. How important was it for you that this be a show that doesn't pretend we're all perfect, unblemished people, and actually we can be dicks?
Wow, I love how you put that. That's exactly right. It's true. I think on TV, oftentimes you see simplified characters because it's easier to entertain an audience with simpler building blocks. But I don't think any human beings are perfect saints or perfect sinners, perfect heroes or perfect villains. And I'm drawn to stories about human beings that are complicated. And I think there's a lot to admire about Josh. I think he's got a good heart. I think he's a good teacher. He cares about his students, but he's also insecure and he gets anxious. And sometimes that anxiety leads him to lash out at people and he makes those mistakes. And, hopefully, we can be uh, honest enough with ourselves to recognize that none of us are perfect and that that's okay. And as long as we're doing our best.
And obviously, well, you mentioned obviously the anxiety side of things. I mean, exploring men's mental health is again something we don't see sort of too often. Is that quite a tricky thing to kind of depict and tonally? Because you want to show how serious it is. You don't want to shy away from the severity of kind of anxiety attacks and panic attacks, but there can be a lightness in pain as well. And so you don't want to be overly severe. Was that quite a tough balance to get right?
Well, I have found in my life that some of the darkest moments, I find myself laughing weirdly. And that was sort of the root of the sense of humor of Mr. Corman. That yeah, he does experience some real anxiety, and we did want to take it seriously. And those are feelings that I've experienced. Some people close to me have experienced them. The other writers that I worked with, the other director I worked with. We also spoke to a scientist, and she read the script and gave her input. So we wanted to really take it seriously. Um, but I do think that in real life, sometimes those uncomfortable moments they can be funny if you look at them a certain way. And so I find the show kind of it makes me laugh.
No, it made me laugh too. But you've spoken
Yeah, okay.
about being kind of more collaborative in this instance. I mean, I'm just wondering if that can be a kind of a hard thing to do initially, because I guess I always imagine if you were to like write something, you have this vision of how is going to look in your head. It must be quite hard to deviate away from that. But I was sort of gather you in this instance, having after kind of Don John and stuff, you kind of embrace the art more so of collaboration and maybe of spontaneity too.
It's really true. The best directors that I've worked for are very collaborative, and they're because filmmaking is a collaborative art form. If you want to just work by yourself, write a novel, paint a painting. But if you're making films, you're going to be working with lots and lots of people, and the best directors I've worked with bring out the best in people and inspire them to contribute. And then they have to also be discerning and decide all the time, make decisions about, am I going to stick to the thing I had in my head, or am I going to go with this new idea being presented? And that's the balance that I was trying to strike. And this show is so much better because of other people's contributions than it would have been had I tried to write it alone or direct it alone, or, well, acting in it alone would have been strange. I might have had to use puppets or something, but um, yeah.
I quite like to see puppets if there's a season two, but
Yeah, that hey.
yeah. My final question really was then just if you have any kind of teachers, a bit like, because I think Mr. Corman comes across as a really kind of good teacher, and I can imagine he would have been a good teacher if I was kind of that age. Do you have any teachers from your life, be it elementary school or high school or college, that you always look back fondly on and sort of feel helped sort of guide you into being the man you are today?
I had a number of teachers that meant a great deal to me. And I think teachers are heroes and should be celebrated far more than entertainers should be, to be honest. Um, One teacher that comes to mind is Miss Karen. She was a music teacher when I was very young, actually. I was in her choir, and then she started teaching musical theater. And that was the first time I ever did any acting on stage, was in Miss Karen's class, playing the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz, etc. And I am hugely grateful to her. And even all these years later, I think about her all the time.
Well, the Scarecrow is a great part. But anyway, thank you so much for your time today, Joseph, and best of luck with the release of the series.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
You too. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!